Welcome to the first episode of Brute Neighbors, the Brute Neighbors channel. WRS, we review stuff.
That's the official name that'll never change, obviously. We're never
Never.
going to come up with a better name. I'm Philip, by the way.
Coming at ya. Holla at ya boy, Seth.
I hate this.
Okay, so here's essentially how the show is gonna work. Is the two of us are separated by 1,000 miles. I'm in Delaware, he's in Georgia, and honestly, we might be going all over the place in the future. So in order to stay in touch and rekindle our forbidden love, we're just gonna banter and talk about shit and be creative. For episode 1, we will be talking about milk. We will be talking about the movie Coco, and we will be talking about some third surprise topic of discussion, which Philip has come up with, and I do not know. So that'll be fun.
You'll love it, Seth. It's beautiful and amazing, and I'll post a link to it in the description below when we get to that point.
Oh, okay.
So the audience can follow along, Seth. Bam. So what do you want to talk about first, Seth? What are we reviewing?
Milk.
Milk? We're starting off strong, huh?
The white watery stuff.
That could be a lot of things.
Cool.
Well, what's the rating on this podcast, Seth? What should I aim for?
Well, I mean, okay, so it actually, I mean, it can be a lot of things now that you mention it. Well, I mean, because, recently we just had this big sort of spawn of soy milk and almond milk and all that. And like, does that count as milk?
Yes, but I hate all of it. I only like the real milk.
Correct. I'm a 1% kind of guy. What about you?
2%, but yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, a little fancy.
I actually just found out whole milk is not in fact 100%. It's just 3%, because the percentage is fat content, and just it's naturally like 3% fat. But like if they said 3%, then you'd be confused and you'd be like, oh, I'm only getting 3% milk.
I thought there was another one. I thought it was like 1%, 2%, and then like a half one, or is 2 the half one? But there was like a fifth, like a half off.
There's skim, or skim is like 0%, and then there's 1%, 2%, and then whole milk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Looks weird. Honestly, I'm cool with all of it. 1%, 2% whole milk, as long as it comes from a cow.
I can't stand skim milk. I respect skim milk as real milk, but let's be honest here. It's white water. If I have it on cereal, it is like I am eating my cereal in water.
See, that's why like I could never get on board. Like I've seen, it's been a big trend lately that everyone's going, like the milk industry has taken a hit because everyone's gone to like almond milk and soy milk and stuff like that. But like I've really tried to switch over to the other kinds, but it just tastes so watery to me. It's not milk, and it doesn't, like, what I use milk for. Like usually if I'm drinking milk, it's with like eggs or peanut butter and jelly or dessert or something. It's with something.
Yeah.
And you just don't get that same like feeling and taste that you would get that combines so well milk with all these other things. So like I just have no, like, honestly, I can maybe cook with like almond milk or skim milk because that's gonna blend into it anyway. But
I've used skim milk in like the Kraft mac and cheese before and not had any issues.
Yeah, like it's not terrible, and like and obviously it has a purpose for like, because lactose intolerant people can drink like almond milk, can't they?
Yes, yeah, they can. I would die if I was lactose intolerant.
Same.
You all who are lactose intolerant, sucks to suck. I hate to say it.
Hey, like honestly, like, okay, like I can't drink like skim milk or almond milk, but I had like cheeses made from like that kind of stuff, and the cheese and stuff, like other dairy products aren't terrible coming from that stuff, honestly.
Well, I've never had any other dairy products made by it. I've never had the vegan ice cream, never had the vegan cheese.
It's not
Um,
terrible. Like it's definitely different, but like cheese like is already has so many different varieties in the first place that I'm like,
yeah. Well, I mean, I also don't eat cheese anyway, so
wow,
like
how dare you, you heathen. Cheese is
it's
the best
gross.
dairy product.
It's really
Cheese is amazing.
that is objectively false.
Cheese, the only argument
Like,
that milk could be better than cheese just because you can make cheese from milk. That's the only argument you have. Cheese otherwise is the best dairy product, hands down.
disgusting. But like I okay, so like I can do cheese on certain things. Like cheese on pizza, cheese on mac and cheese. Like that I can vibe with. That I'm cool with. But just like eating cheese on its own or something where like cheese dilutes the flavor, which I know just goes against the concept of mac and cheese, but I
Yeah, that's all to
my
say. Like that's
my taste doesn't make sense. But no, like anything where like it's just cheese,
okay.
I can't do the texture, I can't do the taste. I think it's just
Well, most
disgusting.
people aren't just eating a block of cheese straight up. Like cheese is
I
usually
don't
paired with
know. I
other
know a
things.
lot of people who would eat a block of cheese straight up.
Honest, I've done it before, but I'm not. I don't do it every day, and like that's like a and like it's not a whole block either. It's just like you take off a piece and you snack on it. But like even then, like I that's not the norm. I'm a Neanderthal who
Yeah,
likes cheese
but
on
like
everything.
I just tried to have nachos earlier today, and just like the cheese on the chips was too much for
Oh
me.
my
I don't do
god.
queso. I don't do
What?
anything like
Dude, queso's
yeah.
so good. I had some queso today while I was watching Coco, actually.
I
It was great.
wow.
It wasn't intentional. I just wanted Mexican food. And then I was like, oh, I need to watch Coco for the review.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow.
It wasn't intentional, I swear.
mm. So I think I probably should have looked up how like I have a vague idea how like cheese is formed, which I think is disgusting. Like, oh, okay, we're used to seeing other animals drink from their mothers. We drink from our mothers. It makes sense that we would get our food from animals.
Mhm.
It's a little bit of a leap in logic, but whatever.
I get what you're saying. I follow
Okay, so you get that milk, and then you leave it sitting out for
it.
Lord knows how long, and then you say, "Oh, this has gotten chunky and discolored. I'm gonna eat it."
And I
Who
love
who
that brave man or woman who did that. I respect you and
whose
salute you, sir or
concept?
madam.
But and then like blue cheese, and I know it's like, oh, it's special kinds of mold in your cheese that tastes good, but listen to yourself,
Yeah, we took this
dear
thing that we
God.
left out for weeks, and then we left it out for more weeks.
We let it get all chunky and moldy, and
Then we let that
then
mold
we
grow
let
mold.
that get moldy. We let
Like, see, okay, I like blue cheese like on salads, but I can't think about it too hard, or I will be disgusted. I'm just like, it tastes good. It's
well,
okay. I'm just gonna put it in my body.
and there's like there's like special kinds of blue cheese. Like some of the most rare kinds of blue cheese are just like bits of cheese that people found in caves. Like people
Mhm.
would go into caves and find the cheese having like developed the mold over like centuries. And then different kinds of cheese are from like those different environments in the caves.
Yeah.
What?
I mean, okay, if we're going that route though, like, I mean, we eat random ass mushrooms from caves too. Like, that's not unheard of just like finding random shit in nature and being like,
Well,
I
that's
wonder if this will
also
kill me.
well, I guess there was a lot of trial and error during the whole like gaining sentience thing. Um,
Just a little bit.
but okay, so I kind of have a good idea on how cheese comes to be. I kind of wish I would have looked into like buttermilk or butter, however you make that. I
Oh,
know
butter, you gotta churn it.
it's just a higher fat content.
Have you ever churned butter, Seth?
I mean, I've spent a good deal of time in Amish country. I'm almost certain I have churned butter at like some sort of public day or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Um,
think I did it as a kid at some like not Renaissance fair, but like the ye old equivalent of it. Like
yeah.
well, ye old equivalent of Renaissance era would be a Renaissance era, but you know what I mean, like a
I,
simple
yeah,
times kind
like
of
1800s sort of.
yeah, less ye
Yeah.
old than the Renaissance fair. New old, ye new,
Ye
ye new,
Victorian fair.
ye middle-ish age, somewhere around there.
Well, okay. I mean, I don't know about the South. I imagine the South was very similar. But like in Delaware and the Atlantic, we have a ton of like Civil War
Oh yeah, we have a
reenactments,
ton of
and
those.
so we pretend we're in the 1800s all the time. Which now that I think about it, sounds like something the South would
Yeah,
do
no,
a
that's
lot.
a very
No
southern
offense.
thing. I definitely just had like a vivid memory. Like I used to go to a bunch of those Civil War reenactments when I was a kid, and it never dawned on me till now. I'm pretty sure I went to one when I was a kid that they had the Confederacy win in the reenactment. I'm pretty sure that was a real thing. And I'm just now
Well,
remembering it and realizing how yeah, because I was like, oh, the other person won because I was like 5 and didn't recognize the significance of that. But yeah,
yikes.
that's pretty yikes. I just remembered that happened. Oh Lord.
Wait. I mean, hypothetically, it could have been at like a battlefield where the Confederacy won,
I
and maybe that's
suppose.
less problematic.
I
Um,
yes, if we're going if they were going for purely historical and we're doing this specific battle, but even still, that seems yikes.
I mean, there's no way to okay, I know we're cutting out our viewership here, and we can cut out this bit that I'm saying here too. But I mean, any sort of reenactment of being a Confederate soldier is problematic. So,
Well, I mean, yeah, we don't have to cut that out. Fuck them.
okay, we can cut out me saying that we're gonna cut that out.
Yeah, we can cut me saying fuck them maybe, but or leave it in. I don't care. I don't want Confederate supporters
Yeah,
as viewers.
no, hey, yeah, no, okay, unedited. Fuck the Confederacy. Um,
Hey. So, anyways, milk, right?
so yeah, okay. Anyway, Harvey Milk.
Oh my god.
Believe it or not, that's who the movie is based off of. It's not actually Milk, much to my surprise.
Have you seen the movie Milk?
I have not.
Me either. So why are we talking about it?
I just felt like we needed to touch upon it.
This is going great,
I
Seth.
don't
This is going beautifully.
know. Isn't it just?
What's your favorite kind of cheese,
Um,
Seth? You cheese hating.
Look, I like both kinds of cheese,
Oh no.
cheddar and American.
American is the worst cheese.
I
American
I
cheese
I can't.
is worthless.
Like I said, I don't do either of them. I do like cheddar on my grilled cheeses, and if I'm eating a grilled cheese, I need to have it paired with a tomato soup. I cannot eat grilled cheese like straight.
Really? I see. I can go for a good, just plain up grilled cheese.
I
See,
I
I'm
just
not a
I
big
well,
like sandwich and soup guy. Like I'm not a big soup guy. Like I'll eat soup. Like if someone gives me a bowl of soup, I'll be like, oh, this is really good. But I'm never gonna go out of my way to make soup.
see that's I love soup. I will eat soup all day every day.
Like if someone's giving me soup, I'll be like, oh yeah, nice. And especially like a good like broccoli and cheddar cheese. We're still tied in. Uh,
Yeah.
broccoli and cheddar soup, like that's delicious. I can eat that all day, every day, but only if someone else makes it for me.
I need to eat more chowders.
I
I
do like what is that like crab bisque or lobster bisque? That's so
Oh,
good.
I love
I've only
bisques,
had
but
it like
I don't
twice
know
in my life, but it's
I
so
don't know
good.
if bisques use milk though.
Do they not?
I don't know. Let me look that up.
It's very creamy. I would
It
imagine it'd
is
have to have
very
milk
creamy.
or some milk substitute.
But yeah, no. Crab bisque, any sort of seafood bisque is incredible.
Like I think
Um,
I've had lobster bisque like twice in my life, and it was just heavenly. Like I could eat like a gallon. It's so
oh
good.
yeah.
I would never be able to make it in my life because I have no culinary talent. But just give me an IV of lobster bisque straight into my
I
bloodstream.
I guess they must use like cream.
Yeah, it has to.
Speaking of which, half and half and cream.
I have little to no exposure to half and half because like I don't like what is it used for other than coffee? Because like I don't drink coffee.
Yeah, I mean it's mainly just used for coffee.
Yeah,
Although I just learned recently, apparently Waffle House uses half and half instead of milk for their waffle mix.
I knew that actually. How did you not
I
know that?
I
You lived with a Waffle
I
House
really
worker for like 3 years or
that
a year. I don't
that's
know. Time is
same,
an
same
illusion.
thing. Never knew. And now I kind of want to make some waffles with half and half.
I mean, they're good
Uh,
waffles. Waffle House waffles are solid.
oh, I mean, you know how I feel about Waffle House waffles. Um,
Like you're the one person I
I've got
know who
some.
like genuinely like likes eating. Like I like eating at Waffle House, but usually like it's either with other people or like after a party or something. You're just like you're the only person I know who will go to Waffle House during the day.
Dude, yeah, this semester, particularly when I didn't have my car and I was just walking around, I would go get Waffle House for lunch like at least once a week, and I would be the only person in there. I'd just slide right up to the counter. Yeah, get me another one.
It's
And
like this
they
guy
would know
again.
my order.
You were, you were the regular. You oh my god. See, I enjoy Waffle House. I used to have like a stigma against it when I was younger because like my parents hated it and they're like, oh, it's gross. But like once I got to college and realized it is beautiful at 2 a.m. when nothing else is open and you're drunk and hungry, I was like, oh, this place is pretty aight.
For me, growing up, Waffle House was like it was a special occasion because the
Hmm.
closest one was over in Cecil County, like half an hour away, and so we'd only go once a year after like our January camping trip, and we'd stop there and get it, and it was always a great time.
See, I feel like I had that like a similar experience with IHOP. IHOP was our like special treat. Like, okay, it's been a rough day, kids. You know what? You guys can eat a fuck ton of pancakes. Go for it. And
Huh.
like, so we'll just go to IHOP and just get like unlimited pancakes and become super fat. It was great.
See, I mean, there was an IHOP just down the street from my high school, so that was just where people went.
It's interesting what different restaurants and stuff are like mean different things to different people. Like for me, like Olive Garden was like a fancy once a year place. Like if we were
Yeah,
celebrating like a graduation or like some major event, that was our celebratory
same,
dinner was Olive Garden.
same,
But
same.
like I got to like college and people were like, "Oh, Olive Garden, oh, it's so lame," and like that's poor person food. I'm like, what? That like, well, I know I'm poor, but like this was our fancy place.
Yeah. Well, and like, don't get me wrong. I acknowledge that Olive Garden is not. Well, I mean, okay, it's quote unquote Italian, but I don't think of it as Italian food. But I grew up around a bunch of Italian restaurants, but I still think it's like really good food. And maybe that's just because I'm tacky, but
I
I
mean,
love Olive
I've
Garden.
never had like other than like the only food dish I've gotten from Olive Garden that was kind of underwhelming was I got their calamari once and that was not
Mhm.
great. But other than that, like as far as the actual like noodles and stuff go, like it's a solid time, man. Like it's
Mhm.
yummy, it's filling, and like
Well, and
honestly for the price, like it's super filling. Like it's honestly
yeah,
pretty good for the price, all things considered.
and you get like all your courses. You get a whole bunch of breadsticks. You get your salad. You
Hmm.
get your pasta
Oh,
dish,
unlimited
and
salad
then
and breadsticks is the best thing on the planet. I like how now we're just reviewing Olive Garden, but I fucking love Olive Garden. Olive Garden is a
oh
nice
yeah,
place. I enjoy
we're
my
we're we're
time there.
saving this content for a future Olive Garden themed episode.
Nah, man, we'll go where it takes us, man. You know what? Now it's just an Olive Garden podcast. Every episode we talk about Olive Garden.
Okay, so this episode is the breadsticks. Next episode will be the salad.
Yeah, and eventually we'll get to
We
the
just go through the
individual pasta
courses.
dishes, and then we got to do soups, and then we just
Oh yeah,
bash their
yeah,
calamari for an hour, and boom, we got a whole
dude,
series.
fuck that calamari.
It's real bad, man. Like it was rubbery and gross. Like that's the one time Olive Garden has ever disappointed me. Was their
I've
calamari.
actually I've never eaten calamari.
It's good when done right. Like I've had good calamari, um,
Yeah.
and it's good. It's real good when done right. But
Okay.
because you're pescatarian now, right? You eat seafood now.
Correct.
You should try calamari, but make sure you go like to an actual like seafood restaurant
Okay.
or get someone who's like trained in it to like make it for you. Because yeah, you want to. If it's done bad, you'll never want to try it again. Like
Okay.
luckily, I'd already had good calamari, so I knew that like okay, this isn't what it's supposed to be. But done if it's cooked wrong, it's just rubbery and gross. But if you get it cooked right, it's amazing.
I have a ton of seafood restaurants around me too. I wonder if Krabby Dick's has one.
I imagine they would have to, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's no way they don't. They had like everything else.
Yeah.
Dude, I want to go back to Krabby Dick so bad.
We're doing a Krabby Dick's episode. That's happening.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll walk up to Delaware so we can go and eat there again, so we can have fresh opinions on it.
Boom. Yeah, no, let's do it.
All right, I'm on my way now. I'll wear my
And by
mask.
let's do it, I mean like you do it, and then I'll see you when you get done.
You're not
When
even
you
gonna
get here.
Okay, I was about to say you're not even gonna go to the restaurant with me. I walk like
No,
that'd
I'll
probably
go
take
to
me
the
like 2 weeks
restaurant.
or so to get there and not kill myself.
Oof. There's this thing called coronavirus.
Yeah, that's why I'm walking. I'll avoid people. It's fine. I just won't eat for 2 weeks. I'll just go straight there. I gotta save myself for Krabby Dicks.
Boom. That's really healthy. That's how you lose weight.
Yeah, man. That's you gotta go on that Corona diet, man. You just drink Corona beers and
Wow.
no other substance,
What
and then
could
you
go
die.
and then you die.
Yeah, you lose a
But
lot of weight when you die.
let me tell you, if you die of alcoholism, you you don't die of coronavirus.
But if you're drinking Coronas, then the
Vaccine.
Corona gets you either way.
Well, shut up.
No matter what, the Corona will get you. All
So,
right, should we talk about Coco?
well, yeah. Wait, hold up. So what's our rating for milk?
Are we rating? I
Are
didn't
we
know.
do? Well, I said we weren't doing ratings, and you said we were doing ratings.
Well, I don't really care. Well, what would our rating system be?
Flarb nuts.
What?
I give milk
Give you
7 flarb nuts.
larv nuts?
Flarb nuts.
I don't like that. 7.
Fruiters.
What? What are you saying right now? What
I
is
think I'm
happening?
having a stroke.
I think you are. Audience, all two of you, Seth is having a stroke. This is the end of our podcast. Thank you for listening.
Does anyone else smell toast?
All right, yeah. Okay, so any other milk related subject matter?
I I have I have nothing. Chocolate milk is good.
Yes.
Ooh, I do. That there is so Wawa has like special kinds of milk, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of their big things is this cookies and cream milk. And
Ooh,
it
that
got
sounds
like,
good.
well, yeah, it'd been really hyped up for me. And so I tried it for the first time a few years back, and it's just like so rich. It was like drinking cannoli filling,
Oh my
but
God, that
like
sounds amazing.
except as milk. It's not something I ever want to drink again, but like
Dude, I would
I
drink
mean, it
that.
wasn't bad. It's just it wasn't for me.
Dude, buy me some and mail it to me. Mail me milk. And then I'll have cheese.
What could possibly go wrong?
Cookie
Oh,
and cream cheese.
okay. Milk is good. How did we go this entire episode without talking about milk and honey? Have
Like
you ever
just going
tried
together.
mixing?
Oh,
Yeah,
like putting honey in milk?
yeah.
No, I haven't.
So like it doesn't mix together,
I can imagine.
but
Because
like
they're like they're both kind of heavy substances, especially honey.
yeah, it's good though. Like pairing honey with milk. Like if you took a spoonful of honey and then you washed it down with milk, it's a very pleasant experience.
I could see that. I can see that. Like I've never done it, but like I mean,
It's
honey and peanut butter goes well, and peanut
it's
butter goes well with milk, so I can see the correlation.
it's definitely like the definition of decadence. Like that's some shit like some Roman emperors would do while like throwing rocks at poor people.
Like, yes, I
But
must have honey with my milk, or I will not drink it. Take it
correct.
away, servant.
But yeah, no, highly recommend. Also, never taken a milk bath, and I feel like it would be very uncomfortable. But
Yeah,
like,
I don't understand the appeal. Anything that's not water, I don't want on my body.
apparently, it's good for your skin.
That's just weird to me, man. Like I would feel so weird. Like, because milk is like kind of thick,
Yeah,
like for a liquid. Ugh. And it'd be all up on you and in you. Ugh. Ugh. Because like it's just you just straight up getting like a tub full of milk, right? Isn't that basically
yeah,
what it is?
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's weird. I can't do anything that's not water. I'm not submerging my body in. Like
Well,
mud baths, like I don't understand any of that. Like no, just
don't
water.
don't knock it till you try it.
It's just so weird to me. I don't want that on me. Like anything, unless it's water. Like it's just straight up good old fashioned water, man. That's all I need.
A milk shower.
Cool. Dude, imagine getting that out of your hair. That would be like, especially if like you didn't clean like right away.
Yeah,
Like if it started to like,
hopefully,
if it stayed on you
hope,
for an hour or two.
hopefully it doesn't curdle.
Hair cheese. So
Yeah.
Coco.
Okay. So pro milk. Yeah.
Milk is good. So are we doing ratings or not?
No,
Are we
we're
just gonna
not
do
doing
it? Just do
ratings.
we think it's good or bad, basically.
Yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
I am pro milk.
Okay. Cool.
Gotta see
Now,
if you're pro milk or not, Seth.
oh, I am pro milk. I was the one who suggested milk. Milk is great.
Wait a minute. You also suggested Coco. Why did you get to do two things this week?
Oops. Did I?
Did you bamboozle me, Seth?
Ah.
Do I have to punish you with Last Jedi being our next episode?
Oh God. So cocoa comes from the cacao plant. I think it's like northern South America is where it's native from. And so they dry out the nuts.
What?
And
Are you trying to do a bit?
I was trying to do a bit.
Screw you. Movie. It came out in 20 whatever, and it's Pixar. Yay.
20 whatever. It was 2017, I think,
Was it
because it
2017?
was because I went to go see it in theaters sophomore year.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think I'm
Well,
getting
yeah,
confused. It
it
was the
would have had to
2018
have been
Oscars.
fall because it would have had to have been fall because of it's Day of the Dead.
Yeah, because it was the 2018 Oscars that it won Best Song for "Remember Me," which "Remember Me," yeah,
Oh,
it's a really great song. Like I didn't really appreciate it much. Like I liked it, but when I rewatched it today because I knew we were going to be talking about it. Like I
yeah,
really appreciated it a lot more this go around.
yeah,
Honestly, I
yeah.
appreciate the movie as a whole a lot more on the go around because like honestly
I
when I
agree. The re the rewatch was definitely a lot more like intense of an experience for me.
yeah, like because when I first watched it, I wasn't able to watch it in theaters. Well, a little bit of buildup is like I actually had been very, very hyped for Coco for a very long time. Like, because I had been a
Yeah,
huge fan of Pixar and Disney, and also I just had always been really interested in the concept and culture around Day of the Dead.
yeah,
So I first heard they were like that Pixar was thinking of making a movie themed about it, like a decade before it came out, and I was like,
mhm,
oh my god, that sounds amazing. And I was like, okay, that's awesome. I'm ready for it because this was still in like Pixar's prime too, like before they had a bunch of crappy sequels and
yeah,
stuff. Like this was like prime Pixar that was like, yeah, we're gonna make a Day of the Dead movie, and I'm like, that's gonna be amazing. And then I wasn't able to see it in theaters, so like I had even more because then, but once it came out, everyone was like, oh, it's so great, it's so amazing. I was like, wonderful, all my hopes are confirmed. It's gonna be my favorite Pixar movie. I finally watched it whenever it came out on Netflix, and then I wasn't a huge fan at first. I think
mm,
I let my hype get the better of me because it's a fun movie and there's a lot of really good stuff in it. I
yeah,
My issue when I first saw it was I felt like I'd seen a lot of it before.
yeah. That's fair.
Like in terms like first off, all right, let's go and say yeah,
Yeah,
spoilers for the next few minutes while we talk about Coco. But the first first off, literally it's fucking Footloose for a good chunk of it. Where it's literally just like, oh, we hate music. You can't do music, but I want to do music. It's fun. No music. It's Footloose, but Day of the Dead.
yeah, yeah. But also, like, I mean, the Footloose trope is like it's a trope. It's
I just don't like that trope, and like I don't
Yeah.
know, I just like.
No, and I understand that.
And like to be fair, to its credit, I didn't it didn't bother me as much on this view
Hmm.
because like I think it did work for what they were trying to do. But I'm just like, it's Footloose. This is Footloose, but like also with a he goes to like the spirit world and stuff. Like it's just fancy animated Footloose. And I was just
Well, I suppose if you're just focusing on that part of it, uh,
obviously there's more to it and
yeah,
some, but even like the other elements of the plot, like
yeah,
I from the get go, I was like when they were like, "Oh, Ernesto de la Cruz, he's my father," and then they met Hector. I was like, "Oh, I bet the plot twist is Hector is actually his dad," and
I
I bet de la Cruz is the villain.
I genuinely cannot remember whether or not I saw it coming or not. I mean I definitely guessed it before they actually had the reveal, but I feel like I believed it was De La Cruz for a while.
Like the
I,
second Hector was introduced, I was like, "Okay, that's his great whatever grandfather." Like,
yeah,
and I was like, I didn't call that De La Cruz straight up murdered the guy, but like
yeah, that
everything
was
else, like
yeah.
I was like I saw a million miles away.
Hmm.
And like to be fair, and like I do try and have this mentality as much as I can when reviewing films. It's not necessarily so much about originality as how you present it and
Yeah,
how well it's delivered. And I think they did deliver pretty well. It's always nice when like there is something new and exciting, and when especially I was, and again it goes back to I kind of overhyped it for myself. I was expecting something new and exciting, like oh Pixar's tackling this rich and amazing culture, like this cultural just a landmark that like a lot of Americans don't know about. Like this is a huge opportunity for them to spread awareness of the culture and do just all these amazing things. And then I was
yeah,
Footloose. Like what we
yeah.
got is good. I had my bar very high, and it didn't
That's
quite snag it for me.
that's fair. I loved the messages of like remembering the dead and paying
Mhm.
tribute to like the past that came before us.
So yeah, I
Uh,
love all those elements. Yeah,
yeah, well, and I it does like with the very title of it, it's something that you don't really put together until the end. Of like, I mean, when I first heard the name Coco, my first instance is like, okay, the little boy's named Coco, kind of like how people think Link is Zelda.
yeah,
Uh, but like when you realize the grandmother's Coco, you don't really put two and two together, and then it just it comes full circle at the end, and you realize, oh, this is essentially, when you boil it down to it, it is the story of fulfilling this absence in this little girl's life, an absence that was created long before the events of the movie.
hmm
It's kind of like turning back, like turning a wrong back into a right that was turned wrong so long ago.
yeah. I think that like that's what makes the movie good is that
Yeah.
overarching theme and what makes Remember Me so good is like
Oh
that
yeah.
like the plot of the movie is Remember Me, but it's sprinkled in like you think it's just this like pop song at first or something that like this dude came up with, but then it ties into the greater theme of the movie, and I think it's a really well incorporated song into the film and really like I mean, there's reasons it won every award on the planet, and I think it deserved all of them.
Hmm.
Like
Well,
that's the heart and soul of the movie.
yeah, absolutely.
What bugged me, and I think it was just bugged me because of like personal stuff potentially. Like everything with Coco, Hector, and even to a degree, I'm blanking on her name, but it was Hector's wife and the great
Imelda.
Yeah, I think it was Imelda
Yeah,
or yeah.
it's Imelda.
Okay, even her, like she actually had some good character
Yes,
growth,
I agree.
but every other member of Miguel's family, I just hated.
That they were extremely static.
Like Static, and not only that, they were assholes to him. Like
Yeah,
this
that
kid
yeah.
just like I get you have your biases and all this, but like this kid wants to follow his dreams, and there's like Screw you, kid.
Well, I mean, it is kind of that. I mean, that they. It's because they aren't really characters in their own right.
Yeah,
They
they're
are
archetypes. They're
placeholders. They
yeah.
are composites of these different sort of archetypes.
Hmm.
Um,
That's just like that's what bugged me though is like that they like the film is about family, and like that's great for Hector, Coco, Imelda, and Miguel. Like it's great for them, but all the rest of the family, when like Miguel towards the end of the movie, he's like, you know what? I'll accept it. I'll give up music for my family. I'm like, no, your family sucks. Why would you do
well,
that?
and but like it also, this movie is obviously about family, but more than that, it really isn't. It is about specifically Coco, and it is about Miguel. Those, and which is ironic because Coco has like the least screen time of any of the characters. But those are the two most central characters, with Imelda and Hector propping it up, and
Yeah.
everyone else is just kind of in the background.
See,
Um,
and like that's fine, but like even then though, like I mean, he's still like his like lesson he learns is like, oh, family is the most important thing or whatever, and then the only family that was actually like remotely decent, and like not even just from being static, just what we got from those characters, even the only decent family he had was Coco, who he was
who he never really actually communicated with.
yeah. And although I will
Yeah.
say I really appreciate how they had like such a central character and like went
Well,
into how
and
age and stuff affect like all of that stuff is great.
the thing one of the things I did really appreciate about the character of Coco is like, don't get a lot out of her, but like we all have a Coco. We've all had that like old family member, old neighbor who like just kind of sits there and we're respectful towards, and we don't give much thought to, but like
See, but there's
really
still a love
can
and
hold.
respect to
Yeah,
them.
but like
Yeah.
really can hold so much like characterization within themselves. Like it really is kind of a testament of like that there are stories so far deeper than you can ever think.
Like I
Because I mean, you would agree with that. Like Coco is definitely a very recognizable figure.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd say so. Like and that's the thing, like I have nothing against the elements of the story in the movie
yeah, yeah.
related
Well,
to
and
Coco.
no,
It's just
this
like
is
it's just like the fact that like it's weird because Coco is the focus, but she's not to Miguel though. Like when
yes,
specifically Miguel's character arc, Hector's really the most important one, and he
yeah,
fulfills that because Hector ends up being a much more of a father figure than his own actual dad, because his own actual
very true.
dad's just there. Like he's willing to give up music for his family, but all of his living family, sons, perhaps Coco, but we don't know because we've never actually seen them talk together. They're terrible to him. They're just like literally his grandmother. She just breaks his stuff when like he rebels. It's just like like
Yeah,
like the second like they do kind of rectify it towards the end where it's like okay you can chase your dreams and but like at that point of the movie I'm like when he's like okay I'll take your blessing I'll give up music. I'm like no why would you no stop. And like luckily like Imelda had enough character development to be like chase your dreams, so like I liked her character a lot. I don't know, it was a weird I get what they were going for with the message. The rest of his family was so unlikable that I was like no just like go chase your dreams man like like what are you doing like your family sucks.
yeah. See, for me, I just like I definitely, I was getting a lot of that same sort of vibe and feeling with the family, but for me, I just kind of like I processed it as like those characters aren't actually all that important. They're just like they're there to serve as a plot device.
See, that would be fine if the focus of the story wasn't family. Like the fact that they are just kind of static in there
But
hurts
you
the
you
fact that the whole
also,
the story's moral is family is so important.
I'm just gonna play devil's advocate here. Obviously, they could have done more characterization for certain members of the family, like even just any more members of the family. But I know that they were also shooting for having that sort of big family. There were a lot of characters, a lot of members of that family that obviously wouldn't all be able to get characterization, and
Yeah, you don't have to do all of them, though.
as a factor, they did suffer from it.
Like, honestly, all you had to have really done is develop the grandma more and develop, like, either the dad or the mom. You don't even have to be both. Just
Yeah.
give some reason to, like, be like, "Oh, like, yeah, like, they're hard on him, but they genuinely do," like, it was so just, like, there, like, "Yeah, we all love each other, yay," like, we didn't see that really. It was just, "Yeah, we love each other. Don't do music or we disown you, ah." It's like, "Screw that, man. I'm gonna go do music."
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think that is what puts me out, because like, the rest of the movie is beautiful, like, obviously, the animation's beautiful, the soundtrack's beautiful, all the songs are
Yeah.
amazing. Miguel's very likable and relatable. Hector's great. I love his arc.
Yeah.
Same
Yeah.
with Imelda.
Hmm.
Like, I thought I was gonna hate Imelda, but like she ends up
She
having so much growth of her own.
she definitely, like, she is definitely the character that makes like the biggest comeback.
Yeah, like she has the most, like, other than maybe Miguel, but even then it's a maybe. Like, she has the
Oh
most
no,
personal
she
growth.
is definitely the most dynamic character.
Mhm. All the characters they actually put time into were really good. It's just like, I think for going for what they were going for, they needed someone in his living world family be just more dynamic, more in depth, to like really like give us a reason for Miguel to want to change, to be with his family and to support his family. Like, he didn't have a reason to for his living world family because they were terrible. Just giving up his dream, but then your family sucks. Like, I don't know. I just not obviously there's probably some personal factors involved with like my reaction to it, but like it bugged me. It worked out in the end, but like that moment where he's like, "Yeah, I'll give it up for my family." It's like, that made me mad. I was like, "No, no, Miguel, don't."
That was also a factor of the attachments he had made to his greater family in the spirit world. He had made attachments to Imelda, to Hector, and so as a whole, his attachment to the family as a whole increased. His willingness to put himself like down for them. I know it's kind of it's I think it's very dependent on our perspective of this as like a sort of like people as individuals, and how their different dynamics relate to each given person. But like thinking holistically here, that is what is happening.
Yeah, that makes sense, and like I get it. It's just like it still bugged me.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Well,
still
and yeah,
like,
that's fair.
it's all well and good and great that he connected to this greater family, but like, giving up his passion for music, that's what happens in the real world. Like, the real world, like, at best he would see his greater family once a year through Dios los Muertos, but like, I don't know. It's just like I don't know. And I get he's a kid too, so like it's a little more like you go with what your heart tells you at the time, and you don't necessarily think about the great like long term. But like he's like giving up his entire life goals and career path. It ultimately doesn't matter because like it worked out
Yeah.
overall. Of course, Pixar had a happy ending.
Yeah.
Like, he got to still pursue his music. Everyone started jamming out, doing jam sessions. I can't wait for
The
Coco 2 when he has to deal with the massive slander and libel lawsuit from the De La Cruz estate.
Boom. Yeah. No, yeah, that was a really weird turnaround at the end. Because I get that it's like a Disney movie
It
and you
happened
gotta
so
just
quick.
kind of wrap it up in a tiny little box. But like the fact that we're like, oh, we found these letters that prove that Hector was the real songwriter. Like and so everyone just abandons De La Cruz and now celebrates Hector as this big music.
It was
This
such a turn. It was so quick. It's like that's not how. And like I get, yes,
like
it's a Pixar movie.
again, I know it's a cartoon, but like obviously in the real world, I mean, you have people who do that all the time, and it's just kind of like a footnote at their biography. Oh yeah, yeah. Also, they stole like all their content from this no-name person you've never
Yeah, like that's literally
heard.
it's like 80% at least every like famous artist.
Yeah,
like like that's like like they would be, and especially it was like 1 year later, they would be in legal battles for like a decade.
yeah, exactly.
Just funding their legal team through making shoes. I don't know, man. Like I know I'm putting way too much realism into this, but with a flying dragon dog thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. That just like that made me laugh. Like how quick of a turnaround that was. Like yeah, we all now everyone knows that he's the devil, and like also there was no like even with the stealing of songs, like they had no like they didn't have any proof that like he killed Hector or anything in the real world. Like there was
Yeah,
no.
exactly. There was no proof that he killed Hector. He's just like assume for all they know, like Hector could have gotten food poisoning, and De La Cruz was just an opportunist.
Yeah, and I mean
Um,
that's what he basically. That was even his defense in the like spirit world was
yeah,
like, hey, like I did this in your honor. I forgot to say your name, but I was in your honor. And
yeah,
like honestly, in real life, that would fly.
yeah,
Like literally, the only evidence they had was this little like 10-year-old just going around and being like, oh yeah, actually, I went to like the spirit world and he confessed to murdering my great great grandfather. Yeah, just thought you should know. That's not that would not hold up in any court.
Oh, I really want to make sure to talk about Everyone Knows Juanita. That was my. I mean, Remember Me is a fucking bop, but like Everyone Knows Juanita was my favorite song, and it's only like a minute long.
That's the one that he sung when the
The
homeboy was
old
fading,
guy,
right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
Everyone knows Juanita.
That was good.
It's definitely that one is definitely like reference to the old style crooner. Almost all of this music comes from like its roots,
Hmm.
and I really appreciated that. I mean, obviously, if we go into symbolism, I can just pick things apart for days. But like, I think there's something very noteworthy of like the fact that he's singing this sort of like older style that has faded and been like taken over by mass production of music as a goodbye to a person who is experiencing a very similar fate. He's being forgotten and fading away.
Yeah.
Just like kind of that message of focusing on the superficiality of this woman's appearance, but then at the end you kind of have that twist of, oh, but that superficiality isn't actually like what matters. It's just kind of like that love and affection, which is kind of, I mean, that's the movie right there. Is don't pay attention to the superficiality. It's the actual raw emotion that like matters.
Yeah, I mean that entire scene, like I feel like just is a small dose of like the rest of the movie's overarching themes. Like it's like it has all of it in there in that one. It's
Yeah.
a beautiful scene. Like it's
Oh yeah.
wonderfully done. I really wish we'd spent, and I know why we didn't because it wasn't the focus of the story, and like it literally you could make a whole movie about it. But I love the idea of this community of people that just know they're going to be forgotten and know they're
Yeah.
going to fade away one at a time. Like you could make an entire movie about
I
that on its own. Like I love that concept though.
I agree. I love that too.
Like I wish it had been more than just that little bit, but like I get why because it wasn't the full focus and like they had to continue on with the main plot. But I could have easily just if they just made the rest of the movie about them hanging out in that town, getting to know these people who are they've made their own families because their own families for one reason or another have essentially exiled them from their memory. Like
Mhm.
that's some heavy stuff and like some really interesting stuff you can play with. So I really like that concept. I'd honestly love to see a film about that, but I know that won't happen. Coco 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Well, see, the problem with their, I mean, I would love to see that, and I think like there could be some good content there. The problem there is that the themes of the movie itself, of Coco, are so just sort of succinct and like
Hmm. Well, it'd have to be a
solemn,
different
almost,
film.
that like another movie would just kind of like it would dilute the effect of the first.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be like a sequel to Coco. I would just love to
Yeah.
see films in general explore that kind of, and I know there
Yeah,
have been,
well, and
but
I think I think that that's definitely like that's a good idea. Like having some sort of movie that explores the themes of the forgotten people.
hmm. Like
Um,
honestly, if I would love, because like Pixar wants to make random short films about all their other movies, like that would be
yeah,
like make a short film about that, like about that cult, like that culture within a culture
yeah,
of like these soon to be forgotten people banding together as they're the only closest thing to a family they have left. Like that's some cool thematic stuff to play with.
yeah. I completely agree.
But it is what it is. And like again, like I don't think that them not exploring that like detracts from the movie in any way. But I just think I just wanted to call out that I think that's a really fun, interesting thing they included. I just wish we'd been able to see more of it because it was so just interesting of a concept.
Agreed.
But yeah, overall, I liked the movie. I definitely liked it a lot more than I did on the first viewing. Like I had my gripes, but it's all personal, subjective stuff. Like as objectively, it's a very beautiful movie. It's not my favorite Pixar, but like it's a good one. Like it's definitely a solid one, and probably it's one of the better ones in the
It
last 8 years or so. Other than like Inside
I
Out's my favorite,
I
but
would definitely agree with that. I think this is the best Pixar movie since like old Pixar.
Inside Out's my all-time favorite. Just regardless of the time, like that's just my absolute favorite Pixar movie. But
I I I just thought I wasn't blown away with it. I thought it was good, but
well,
that's another
yeah, we can
episode.
talk about that in another episode because I can
Um,
talk about Inside Out forever. Like it, see, like a lot of like it's weird because Coco like hit me on a personal level and like not a negative way, but it was like I was like, no, Miguel, go off, do your own thing, you know. But then like
yeah,
Inside Out like hit me on a personal level of like I completely related to Riley. I was like that was like me as a kid. Like I was like, oh my god, like love Inside Out, amazing movie. We'll revisit that at some
well,
point.
I definitely think my second viewing of this film was very strongly influenced by like the recent loss of my grandfather.
Hmm.
Uh, I definitely drew a lot of similarities between like Coco and my grandfather,
Hmm.
and just kind of thinking about those that we've lost, and like going into future holidays and stuff like that where they're usually there, and just kind of like the perpetuation of their memory really it hit me in a different way than it did the first time.
Hmm.
I was bawling like a baby when he puts Coco's picture on the ofrenda. But no, I love this movie. I probably wouldn't say it's my favorite Pixar movie, but I would rewatch it anytime.
Yeah, I don't know where I'd put it in my rankings. Like, I don't know. It's weird. And I think part of it is because like I didn't have like a huge extended family, so I think like maybe it just didn't fully relate with me on that regard. So I
That's
think that
also fair.
so like I only have like
Well,
maybe that's just like part of why I didn't really
you
grasp this like complete loyalty to this giant group of people, and like I don't have that, so I don't know. I
you
don't have that relation.
you've also been to my house before and been to like my dining room. That one wall is plastered with like sepia tone photos of like family members. We have great grandpa Withrow on one wall looking down at you with his big mustache and stern look, and you have great grandpa Erickson on the other one, just kind of like watching over. So I definitely there were a lot of themes in this that like I definitely could resonate with, that like maybe was not the same experience with like
Yeah, because like my family didn't like have like a lot of that. We like my mom had some pictures of like me and my siblings up on the wall as a kid, but even then, like, we stopped kind of caring about that kind of thing the older I got. So like, it just a lot of the themes of like, family long traditions and stuff. It's like I just didn't really have that connection to it, just given my upbringing. That's why like I'm fully aware. Like it's very subjective that like
Hmm.
I'm not like super in love with this movie, but I can recognize it's a good movie. Like it's a very good movie.
Yeah,
It's just I just don't think it related to me as well as like something like Inside Out did.
I can see that. I can definitely see that. Okay, well, I mean, that's kind of our decision.
Yeah, I don't think there's much more we can say. We
Yeah,
dove in pretty deep, I feel like, overall.
yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, Seth, are you ready for my surprise? You're gonna hate this so much, Seth.
Yeah, probably.
I love it so much. All right, so
Um,
before we dive into it, audience, I'm going to put the link to Plant Man in the description below. Feel free to pause, go check that out, come back, and if you want to listen along to us discuss this beautiful masterpiece of a music video. It's a music video that came out, I believe, in the 90s. That's a guy named Gary Young. Enjoy, buddy.
mm, get ready for next week.
You gonna get me back?
No,
Did you
I'm
close
missing
it?
Flatman.
No, you're missing Plant Man. You gotta go back.
Hold
Rewind to
up,
Plant
I'm
Man.
I'm working on it. Okay. I hope this man was on acid.
He better have been.
Is this the Green Party's like presidential candidate this year?
It better be. I'd vote for him.
Flatman 2020.
Dude, he gets my vote, man. Oh God, it's so beautiful. Seth, what did you think? You just watched it for the first time. What do you think of Plant Man?
That was the most convincing argument I've ever seen for why to vote for the Green Party. Uh, I'm gonna start off with that.
Okay,
Uh,
Gary Young for a Green Party candidate.
no, literally, if you told me that that man was the nominee, I would
It
believe it.
fits. It fits. He probably is a Green Party supporter.
Probably. Whew.
The plant man knows when the plants will grow, Seth.
Plant man knows when the plants will grow. I feel like okay. So without any sort of context for that video, I I assume it was probably written as sort of like a raising awareness for environmentalism and like the earth. Like did you ever hear Jill Stein's like
What? Jill
rap
Stein has a
songs that
rap?
she made? Yeah.
Oh
No, she
God.
she, she made like eco rap. There's a lot less like specific content in Plant Man, but I also feel like it's going to stick in my head a lot longer.
See,
So,
I want to say I appreciate that you're trying to give Plant Man greater meaning. I think you're giving him way too much credit.
I,
I think this dude was high off his rocker and
oh, I
wanted to
hope
sing
he
about
was.
plants.
I There is nothing that I want more.
He looks high at like in the video. Like he can't keep his eyes open. He
At
like
one point, he is definitely sitting on a giant psychedelic
he
mushroom.
is. And then he has like
Uh,
dancing tree and flower behind him.
like I see that every day. So like,
Maybe you're the plant man. Seth, tell me, when will the plants grow?
wait, what if this is in the It's Always Sunny universe, like with Dayman and Nightman
Who would win?
and
Plant
Plant
man versus
Man.
day man. Oh god.
Dayman versus Nightman versus Plant Man.
Versus Spoon Man by Soundgarden. That song was in an episode of Beavis and Butthead. They found it like forever ago and like made fun of it on one of their episodes.
Nice.
So
That sounds about right. Are we just the new Beavis and Butthead?
I'm okay with that. Which one was Beavis and which one of us is Butthead?
You look more like Beavis.
I don't remember what they look like, honestly.
One was blonde, one was Sloth from the Goonies.
Okay.
I am the great Cornholio. Ah.
See, I've only seen like 3 clips from Beavis and Butthead, so I don't know a lot about them.
It's either a lot more or a lot less cultured than you think it is.
You know what? That tracks with what I've heard of it.
Yeah,
I've been told by like several people I would either love or just hate Beavis and Butthead.
yeah.
I don't know which it would be. I should find out. But yeah, Plant Man is a beautiful work of art, beautiful cinematography and set design, all the greenery. It's beautiful.
I wasn't. I was very curious about where he's blue.
That was his acid trip. He went from
That like
weed to acid.
it kind of looked like he was Captain Planet doing a nude photo shoot.
Oh,
Maybe that was the aesthetic he was going for.
I mean, it works, man. You gotta, Captain Planet nude sells, man. Who doesn't want to see that?
Oh, you've never looked that up before? Me neither.
I know what I'm doing after this podcast. Plant Man knows when the plants will grow. Plant Man needs to be when's
will
my
the
Plant
plants?
Man movie be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
We're okay. We're gonna do the album "Tea for the Tillerman" by Cat Stevens. We're gonna review that some episode.
You mean Yusuf Islam is what he goes by now.
Well, yes, Yusuf Islam. At the time of production, also known as Cat Stevens.
The artist formerly known as Cat Stevens.
The artist formerly known as Cat Stevens.
And I'm gonna compare every song we ever look over to Plant Man.
Correct. I would expect nothing.
It's the peak of art. Once you have that, like you're trying to make the second best song after that. The best one's already been made. Plant Man exists, but you can try for the second best song. And I think that's what every musician and artist is just trying to achieve, just something that comes close to Plant Man.
I was definitely getting a lot of Roar vibes, I feel like that was part of the inspiration for Katy Perry was probably Plant Man.
Can Plant Man be my drug dealer?
I'm being like 90% here. I am surprised I got through that entire video without seeing that green baby from Doctor Who, like the one that they just painted green and
Son of the Mask. That's Son of the Plant Man.
Yeah, pretty much.
Son of Plant Man. Jesus Christ. I love that video with all my heart. It is it's so stupid.
I'm gonna do a hot take here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm anti Plant Man.
Whoa. Don't be hating on Plant Man.
I'm just calling him as I sees him.
But Seth, he knows when the plants will grow.
Does he?
He does. He says it like 70 times. Do you doubt Gary Young?
He says he knows, but he never actually told us when any of the plants will grow. It's like Trump. He's like, we're getting political.
Whoa! Don't be calling Plant Man Trump. Don't insult Plant Man like that.
Well, I'm not. I would never disrespect him in that way. I mean, it's a very similar concept, just kind of like talking big game and then never actually showing up.
See, but he makes the plants grow. Tree friend and flower friend appear. He knew. He told them, "Hey, it's time to grow," and they grew.
Did they grow? They just kind of appeared.
Well, he's not gonna. This isn't a risque kind of video. He's not gonna just show them be created. He's not gonna invade their privacy like that. He's a friend to the plants.
I suppose.
When they're ready to show up, they'll show up, But he knows. He knows when they'll show up.
Yeah.
Plant Man. It's beautiful, and I can't believe you would disrespect our good friend Plant Man like that. Can we get Gary Young on the podcast?
Next episode, guest feature.
Featuring Gary Young, writer and singer of Plant Man. So
wow.
Is he a young Plant Man, or is he just singing about Plant Man? That's what I want to know. What is Plant Man's secret identity?
Okay, so if he wasn't Plant Man, maybe Plant Man the Gary Young dressed as the planet Earth, that was Plant Man. And so he was just kind of he was still forming during the singing of the video. We haven't seen Plant Man in his final form yet.
He's still evolving. He's in his very green cocoon right now. And one day he will come to save us from global warming.
Correct. Wow. Okay. Wow. I think we figured it out.
Yeah.
That's how we're going to stop global warming. We don't need to have a Snowpiercer apocalypse. We just get Plant Man.
Yeah, we have to. He's almost ready. It's been like 30 years since that video. He's almost done. He's almost done cooking.
He was probably. Let's see. What year was it?
It was like. Here, let me look. It was in the 90s, I think, like early 90s.
Okay, so let me give you a theory here. So what if Al Gore dug a hole and had sex with the Earth, and he sired Plant Man, and he's only just now developing just in time to meet climate change before it becomes irreversible.
All right, so
that was Al Gore's plan the whole time.
He's the father of Plant Man. So Plant Man came out in 1994.
Yeah, no, the timeline adds up.
Oh God. Okay. Do you have any other final thoughts on Plant Man, Seth?
I think that's it. Yeah.
I'm gonna listen to Plant Man.
Oh wait,
to soothe me into slumber.
Hold up. Do you remember that like short story? Did you ever read it in school where they talked about humans in the future being injected with like plant cells to be able to feed off of photosynthesis?
I don't think so.
Okay, well that was like a thing.
There's not the yellow wallpaper. I don't remember it.
And the people were green, and so it was kind of like half like science fiction, how will people survive in the future, and half sort of like social commentary on how will we treat these plant people. Like will we treat them as less because they're different, or will they like be thought of as the next step in evolution?
So you're saying Plant Man is an evolved form of human?
Correct. I think that's what I'm getting at.
So we're all Plant Man, or will be one day.
Correct.
Plant Man has been with us all along in our hearts.
I think that sums it up perfectly. I don't think there's anything else we can add.
All we can do is thank Plant Man for his noble sacrifice. I don't know what he sacrificed, but he did. I've decided right now.
Plant Man. Oh.
He knows when the plants will grow.
Oh.
What a man, that Plant Man. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good episode. Seth, we talked about Milk, the Confederacy, which may or may not actually be in the video, and Coco and Plant Man. I think that's well-rounded.
There was something in between the Confederacy and Coco.
Was there?
Yeah, we got off track.
All right. Thanks for listening, guys. This was the blah 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 podcast.
I hate you all.
No, I love you, and so does Plant Man.
I don't want you to come back and listen to the next episode.
No, you really should. Stop scaring away our viewers, Seth. They need to know about Plant Man 2, the sequel.
No.
All right. That's it. Goodbye.
Okay, bye.